I'm good.
Hey, good Monday morning, everyone. It is Author Talk here. You guys know me, Amy, Fern, and Russell here for Author Talk. We have a guest that may or may not pop on. They're probably having some technical difficulty. Alexa Bigwarfe, I believe is how you say her last name, so she may be popping on here soon. But you guys, oh my gosh, I'm so excited because there's going to be a Texan cold front this week, you guys. It's going to be great. Yes. Hi. Welcome, Alexa. How are you?
Hi. How are you
You're
guys?
online.
We are doing good. We were just talking about how, Texas is getting a Texan cold front. I think it's going to Monday. What is it? Thursday morning. I think it'll be 58 in the morning. And then, it's going to heat up to the 80s. But, it'll be 58. It'll be cold, you guys. Yay.
Oh, I'm in South Carolina. I totally get it. 58 is winter weather.
We're going to bust out our, big jackets and scarves and everything. That's how we do it for sure.
For like the whole, we'll be in our beautiful winter clothes for like the whole 3 seconds of that cold front, and then we'll
every
peel
woman
it
in
right
town
off.
will pull out their fashion boots.
Oh, yes, you know it. We live for a good, fall time with our boots and leggings and, the jacket or the what is it?
Our
Cardigan.
Yes, cardigans, that's all fall. And it's
yeah.
We're here for that moment. Absolutely.
Layering is key so that when it gets up into the 80s, you can just start stripping off.
I have something to announce.
Go for it.
Wow, go for it.
I had twin granddaughters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And we're very Daphne and Eleanor. And when I heard that, I asked my daughter, I said, does that mean I can call them Ellie Mae? And my daughter threatened my life if I ever referred to her as Ellie. But her middle name's Margaret, so she might have messed up.
Ooh.
Okay. That's so
But we're
exciting.
very excited about it. That's a big deal for us.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's amazing, Russell, and those are beautiful names. So I'm excited to see photos and everything. Congratulations to you and your daughter and just your family. Twins are going to be so much fun. So,
Well, I missed the memo that I was supposed to bring a cigar.
I know.
Well,
That's how it
I
goes.
smoke cigars, I'll be right.
Are you a cigar smoker, Alexa?
No, I'm not.
I mean, because, we will hang out with you at a cigar lounge, my friend.
Wait.
I mean, I have been to a cigar lounge before and have, tried it out. It's not something I do on a regular basis, but shoot, twins are a good reason for smoking a cigar.
I tell you, you get Fern in a big chair at a cigar lounge with a cigar, and she can spend the whole day telling you what's wrong with everything you're working on.
You need friends like that when you're a writer. You need someone who can toughen you up and make you better. I love it.
It's called developmental editing.
That's right.
One time she threw my manuscript on and slammed it on the table with the cigar in her mouth and said, "I'm sick of this shit."
Fern, look at you throwing stuff down with a cigar. Like,
I was just
awesome.
You know what? The thing is, talking heads. It was like, there was like talking. I'm like, I don't know where I am. I can't see anything. I can't see any of the people. I'm like,
I love how Russell really painted that picture for me. Like, now I'm picturing this like badass Fern with this cigar and like throwing it down, just like, this is crap, that's a beautiful part. Like,
I think those are actual literary critical words.
So.
Crap and shit. Okay. Greg, you're watching. You said hello. What do you think?
Yeah, no, Greg, I think knows all about that. I mean,
I believe so. Yes.
You know what? I'm very excited because Greg and I are part of a team of 5 authors that co-wrote a story. Okay. Each of us contributed one of our characters that we have from, other stories. And we co-wrote this story, and it was like tough going because it's hard coordinating with other authors for a cohesive tale. And Max is going to developmentally edit it for us. So
Wow.
next week we get to hear his input, and so it's going to be very interesting to see how that sort of develop the editing part of a collaboration like that. How it's going to work. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I think I'm excited to read it. I think it's going to be fascinating to read. James, good morning. And Greg says, very true. Yes, Greg, we all agree. I believe those are terms that should be used. Absolutely. Well, you guys, my weekend was pretty uneventful, I would say. I was supposed to go down to Terra Isle with Greg, but I had the pandemic hit my house, or the flu plague hit my house, and so we were all recovering, and then Josh started to not feel good, and I was like, I'm not risking it. So I just stayed home. But it was fun. We decided to transform our big dining room table that we have to an outside table and do like a mosaic tiling on top. And so we're in the process of doing that. And so, it's that was the highlight of my weekend there. I decided to, tile a table. So
I hear that it appears that Josh hasn't been married long enough to know how to avoid honeydews yet.
no,
Josh will learn to do a better job in the future of avoiding it.
No, it was his idea, and I just ran with it. I was like, if you want to do it, then sure. Like, I already have the table. We don't have to build it. Let's do it, I didn't really think he was, really going to do it. But now I have the base of the table in my garage all sanded. Just needs to be painted. And he has someone that's going to, deliver the plywood and cement and all that jazz that we got to do. And I was like, it's kind of one of those, I was trying to call you out on your bluff, and you just were like, we're doing it. I'm like, well, now we're here. So, say a prayer.
That's what happened. Well, hey, now you're going to have a beautiful table.
I know. Yeah, that's my expense, but it's we're going to do it. Yeah, it's going to be
my weekend was fun because we, every June I do a writer's retreat in Boulder, Colorado, and now we're doing it through Zoom because, pandemic. But part of Max's program. And this past June, we were in a group called the Marathoners, because it was the group of us that was doing the entire month instead of just the half of the, he does 2 sessions, right? But we were doing both. And so we, and many of us had done both the year before. So we really clicked, and we decided to do a right now weekend once a month. So we do a little mini retreat on a weekend. We start on the Friday, and we go through to the end of the evening on Sunday. We share work, we give each other feedback, and we write together, via Zoom for that weekend. And it is just so cool, because I have found that it's kind of like a little burst of energy. You're going around and you're working, and, life is happening, and you start losing momentum for your writing. And then here comes the right now weekend. Boom, energy. You're re-energized. Yes, you're back in your project. And then you start going again, and life starts happening. And just when you're about to fade away, here comes the right now weekend again. So it's been really great, to just, push us into that project again and keep us going. So that was this weekend. I wrote a lot this weekend.
That's why you're all like energized, and you're like, yeah, I can do this. It's Monday. Because, most of us on Mondays, I guess it could just be me. We're like, oh man, it's Monday. Like, I'm dragging. I need my coffee. I'm dragging. It's like, oh, why did the weekend go by so quick? So I'm like, okay, Fern got a little giddy up in her steps, so then I got one, because then we're all just energetic, and then it's just how it rolls. We just feed off of each other, and it is fantastic. So Alexa, did you do anything cool, fun, exciting this weekend?
I worked a lot, and I watched a lot of college football. But I will say, my daughter is a volleyball player. She's 11, and she's been on this team at the YMCA this is her 4th year, and their team has just been terrible. Just week after week, just watching them getting just slaughtered. And this week, those girls are so persistent. About half of the team has been there since year 1 together. And this Saturday, y'all, they came out and rocked it. They just smashed smashed all 3 sets, won it. Last year, they won 1 set the entire year, and they came out, and I was super proud, Mama, because my daughter brought in the 5 winning points of the final match, serving it up. So yeah, that was pretty exciting. It's cool to watch. And you know what? I really relate it to what it's like being a writer, right? Because for years, sometimes you're pumping out content or you're pumping out your writing and you're just not quite hitting the mark, but you stay, you work on your craft, you get better at it, you don't give up. And then eventually, boom, it comes out. And so it was exciting to see that. And they've been such good spirits, and I was proud.
And that is so true about authors. And it is very much like a sport because it is a skill. And so the more you practice it and the more you challenge yourself, I find that, you know, a lot of authors sometimes will avoid developmental editing or critique groups or, you know, things that challenge them because they don't want to push past, you know, where they are. But that's the only way you grow. Like I'm in some critique groups with, you know, like this weekend, there were some poetry ladies. I do not do poetry. Okay. But as I was critiquing their poetry, I found myself getting, you know, more, more aware of word choice, even in my own writing, you know.
You
and so
do poetry, Fern.
I
It's one of
don't
your
really,
favorite things to do.
I don't do poetry, Russell. I don't. I have a couple of poems that don't suck. Okay. Just a couple of them, you know.
There you go. Okay.
But you know, there's the people who are poets, right? That when they sit down, the first thing their brain focuses on is poetry. Those are poets. You know, the rest of us, we're writers and we can do poetry, but you know, we're not poets. I'm just gonna say.
Well,
Okay, I got to tell a story about Fern.
Go for it.
And this is, I was reading one of her manuscripts, and I urged her, because she actually is pretty good at poetry, of putting a poem from one of the characters in the manuscript. Do you remember that, Fern? I thought you had done that. So
I
you
did.
are actually a published poet.
I am. Actually, I have that. Yeah, I have a couple poems in the manuscript for book 1. So in book 1, there's a couple poems because I took a page from Tolkien, right? I mean, Tolkien added poems and songs in his epic. So I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I was like, yes, Russell. And so we stuck it in there. And I do have one poem published with Spider Road Press, which is the one poem that I'm super proud of because it's Penelope's response to the poem by Lord Tennyson, Ulysses, right? And so it's actually a really great poem. I think it's like, I'm really not sure it was me that wrote that. I think somebody just channeled through me and wrote that because I'm actually really proud of that guy. You know, that was really good.
I did not know that about you. I learned something new every Monday. I swear, I learned something new every Monday on this show.
But Alexa, you are really in the business of helping authors. You are one of those beautiful people that make writing a team sport. You know, people think that it's a solo venture, but really we have those beautiful people like you that help support us. And I know that you do a lot of trainings for authors. Talk to us a little bit about like, what is some of the things that you offer as support for authors?
Yeah, so my company, Write, Publish, Sell, kind of grew up around this idea of when I started writing and self-publishing books, I was spending a lot of time, energy, and money trying to figure out all the things. And as I was putting out more stuff, people started coming to me and asking for support. And I love to teach, I love to share. So we started putting out blog posts and running webinars and doing all kinds of things. And the business just kind of grew and expanded around that. So we don't do a lot with writing support. I am not an editor. I am not a writing coach. We rely heavily on other people to provide those elements. But where our genius of expertise really comes through is in the positioning of books, in the production, making sure that people are producing good books so that, you know, when you've spent all this time writing, that you have a book that has a great cover, that has a great interior layout and ebook design. So you're not getting slammed from people on things that you should never be slammed from as a self-published author. The positioning, keywords, categories, knowing your market, knowing all those types of things. And then a lot of emphasis on marketing, because marketing is hard. And we see lots of people who get out there and, bestseller and this and that and all this kind of stuff. But the reality is people who come out the gate and have big successes like that are unicorns. They're not the norm. It takes a lot of work, time, and effort to get the point where you've built an audience, a following, where you have enough books that you're getting sales from your backlist, where you're seeing, a lot of sales. So that's where where we've really started moving our marketing efforts is in that direction of how you build your author platform, how you create relationships, and how you grow rabid readers who are going to not only buy your books, but review your books and share about your books and help you build your readership. Because we're not McDonald's. We don't eat a cheeseburger and then go back and get another one, right? People only buy your book one time generally, unless you have those super fans who buy it in every format you put out there. Right. But again, that is also the exception, not the rule. So you always have to be finding new readers. And that's really hard work, especially for people who just want to write.
Yes. And that's really the key. What you said, there's authors who really, they're just authors, and you really have to have a business mentality.
Absolutely.
To do the marketing side. So having people like you that can support that part of the process is key, for many, many authors. And I know you do like the book launch cohort. I think one is starting coming up.
Yes, we are. Month. Yeah, we have our next one kicking off on October 5th. And we're closing that down on September 30th. It's Book Launch in a Box, and it's a 30-day intensive with live training and training materials. And the whole gamut, worksheets mixed in with, training tutorials, pre-recorded training, recorded, if I could speak, just modules of content, plus mixed in there with Q&A sessions, with networking sessions, with all of those types of things. And the goal is not to build, an author who is ready to just conquer the world and sell 1 million books in 30 days. The goal is to create the foundation so that you take all of that information and you continue to implement it and you continue to grow it. And I think some of the stuff that we do a bit differently that I don't see with other self-publishing and marketing programs is we focus a whole lot on the foundations of your platform, and we focus a whole lot on tracking your data and being aware of your numbers and your stats so you can see what's working and what's not working and determine where is a good fit for spending your time. If you're spending 6 hours a week on Instagram and you're seeing nothing come from Instagram, then maybe that's not the place that you should be spending all of your efforts. So looking at that stuff, making sure that you know how to access traditional methods as well of book marketing, like editorial reviews and other reviewers, because those are so key. And too many authors start that really, really late in the process, if at all, before they launch their book.
So what are some of the things like that you do with some of those editorial reviews to help bolster sales with them? Because, you get them from like fantastic locations, readers' favorite and others. How do you show your authors how to use some of that?
Yeah, so it's about knowing, like you just said, what to do with those once you have them, making sure that you're including them, obviously, on your Amazon sales page, on any sales page, but also putting them on your website, also putting them on your social media, putting them in your emails, maybe writing blog posts that tell people, because there's two things that happen with editorial reviews. One, if you're truly seeking the right types of editorial reviews, your book is being put out in front of their audiences of people as well, which is a huge driving factor. Everybody knows about the New York Times as a really big example, but there are a ton of smaller media outlets and places that you can go, beyond Kirkus, beyond looking at your local, at what you have going on in your local world. If you live in San Francisco, are you pitching your book to the review team at the San Francisco Chronicle, the Washington Post, your local media, things like that, so that other people are now talking about your book and putting it in front of their audiences. So that's one way to use it. But then The second factor is that it gives you credibility. When you are a newer author, don't have a lot of books out there, but people can see that. I don't want to use the word legit because, peer reviews are legit as well. Reader reviews are obviously legit. But when somebody is trying to decide if they're going to spend money on your book and they see these media outlets and these other, well-known editorial review sites are reviewing you, then that gives them a little bit of faith, because let's be honest, there's a lot of negativity still, even though it's the self-published books are some of them. I've seen some self-published books lately that I would never even guess were self-published. Like the quality is increasing, but there is still a lot of negativity out there and fear, like, oh, this is a brand new author. This is their first book. Do I want to spend money on it?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing, is that it just gives you that credibility that somebody with an opinion that matters, if you will, has said this is a good book.
Yeah, and I can tell you that I agree 100% that those are really important, because I've seen it even in my own, like I do shuffleboard on Wednesday nights, and a lot of the people around there, they knew that I had a book out, and they read my kind of genre, but they hadn't really purchased it, right? And then when Doctor Who Online did my review, and it was really favorable, and I started talking about it and putting it out there, all of a sudden they bought the book, and then they were like, "Oh, I bought your book and I read it," but because somehow something that they they're Whovians. Right. They follow Doctor Who. And so the fact that they reviewed it, they liked it, that pushed them to purchase. So sometimes it is those editorial reviews that can put people like, okay, they might have been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of times you do have to, with marketing, you have to put things in front of people multiple times before.
It's true. It's studied it's studied marketing tactics that people need to see things 5 to 7 or more times before they go out there and buy it. But the other part is that you brought up a good point about friends and family. Most of us start off with the majority of our audience when we're marketing our book is our friends and family. And I think, I'm not a psychologist, but this is just what I think from my own experiences and from watching other people. You have two types of friends and family. You have the friends and family who are your ride or dies. They will buy 15 copies of your book and give it to everybody that they know because they're just so excited for you. They don't care if it's a genre they don't read, they don't care. And then you have other people who are like, that's my friend Alexa. I've known her since she was 5. Is she really an author? Would her book really be good? Is it going to and they kind of, take that, I'm not quite sure. And then I guess there's a third category too. And that's just the people that just aren't necessarily book buyers, want to support you, don't really know how, don't want to buy a book, don't do it, and so while you're building the audience that is outside of your normal friends and family, you can't rely on those people to be your base. Basically, you can rely on them to support you in the beginning, and you'll see some sales from those people, obviously, because they care about you, but you really have to get in front of the readers who want to buy your genre of books, who are looking, as you are now a professional author, and they're coming at it from that matter, if that makes sense. I haven't had enough coffee this morning. My brain is like, oh.
It's a Monday. It's a Monday morning, but it is very true. Yeah, it is true. And so talking about your book launches, but pre-pandemic, we had parties and, in person and stuff that began to shift to a digital, virtual launches.
Right.
How do you see that moving as we move forward from, into the post-COVID world? Do you see people still using some of the virtual launch techniques? Do you see a hybrid of that happening? What are you seeing?
I hope they continue it. We were doing virtual launches long before the pandemic. Like, we always encouraged our authors to either do a hybrid or both, because most of us are reaching people. If you're doing your marketing well, you're reaching people that are all over the place, that aren't going to be able to attend your live events. So by doing a virtual event, you're opening up a way for other people to come and participate with you. And I've seen some really creative things happen in book launches and virtual book launches this last year, from using tools to help you do giveaways, fun giveaways, the wheel of names where you can, pop people's names in there and do it. We love that. But even more so, we had the most fantastic launch of a book, a memoir. And she talks about, she was in Budapest as an English teacher, but she had a lot of music stuff, and she was there because she loved Liszt, the composer, and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, lots of classical music stuff. So she brought in her friends who are musicians. She had musical performances. She had readings. One of her very funny guys did like a really funny skit. I mean, there's so many things that you can do that keep people really engaged, and it becomes more like a live event, but you can include everybody from all over the place. So, I would encourage people to continue I like live events because people come out, they kind of feel pressured. Like there's just that peer pressure, like, okay, I'm at a book launch, I should probably buy a copy of the book because I'm here. So it kind of, whereas a virtual event, you don't necessarily have that same, it's more of a support thing. It's more of an opportunity for people to get to know you as an author, to hear an excerpt of the book, and will hopefully convince them to buy the book or share about it. So yeah, I really encourage people always to do both. Particularly unless your book is very, very regionalized. And in that case, then, it's always better to get out and focus around whatever you're doing.
So besides the book box program that you're launching in October, what are some of the other training sessions that you offer?
So we have our annual conference, the Women in Publishing Summit, which tickets go on sale for that in October at womeninpublishingsummit.com. Hope it's okay that I just totally promoted that link, but it's a week-long conference, but it's more than just a week-long conference. The actual big conference happens the first week of March, but we do monthly free webinars and monthly training sessions that people can sign up to be part of. We really focus on building community. One of the biggest things for us has been to pull authors together and to work together because, like you said at the very beginning, it's not about just being your own individual. It's about building your community and your team as you go through it. We do premium workshops each month, which are paid, but they're usually very, very down in the weeds, working through specific topics. Like this next week, we're doing grant writing for authors. So people who are looking to fund their book through grants as an opportunity. Those are through Write, Publish, Sell. But let's see, we have the Publish Her podcast. We have a newsletter that goes out twice a week. We try to jam pack it full with updates in the industry. It's really for me, it's important to provide value because I'm very passionate about the fact that there's a lot of people selling products, services, training, things like that aren't always really geared at people understanding what they need to do before they spend a lot of money, and often push people into investing a lot of money for things that they could have avoided. Or, I made a lot of mistakes. And with everything we do, we're trying to avoid people making the same mistakes because it is not fun when you look at that growing credit card debt and think to yourself, how am I ever going to pay this off when, the book doesn't even launch for another 6 months? How am I ever going to, all these types of things. So yeah, we love hearing from authors what problems they're having, what issues they're having, because this market, this industry changes every single day. I mean, there's constantly new stuff out there, new tools to use, new marketing techniques, there's a baseline of stuff that always stays the same. But there's, lots of other changes as well. So it's fun. I was an intelligence officer in the Air Force and then worked in Homeland Security. And I love solving problems. I love enigmas. And I feel like I just landed in the perfect career coming into the publishing industry because it's a never ending stream of figuring things out and solving puzzles and problems.
And I think what you said is so critical of making sure that authors know when to spend on what.
Yes.
Because sometimes they're spending things, in areas that they really are not ready for, or, are not going to give them a good return on investment. So having people that can guide you on that is really important. And then who are not just in it to, make money off of authors, which sometimes you see some of that in the industry, and it's
Yeah.
really sad because we're all eager as authors. We are eager to have our book in print, to hold it, and but you got to do it right. You have
That's
to do it
absolutely right. I mean, we do charge obviously for our services and for some of our workshops and things because we're running a business. I mean, just like you should get paid for your books, we have to get paid for what we're doing, but we do really try to offer as much stuff as we can for free to at least give people the baseline of what they need to get started before they start making big investments.
Great. Thank you so much for coming with us, and
this was fun.
Offer. And Amy, what do we have tonight?
Okay. Anyway, so tonight, you guys, we haven't met on Through the Eyes of Authors because, like I said, the plague has hit my house and then it's been crazy. But tonight we are finalizing our 12 days of giving, 12 days of books. I'm going to come up with a name, okay? I promise. I'm going to come up with a name. We are finalizing that. So if you guys are an author and you want to do some kind of deal, bundle, discount, whatever on your books, you are more than welcome to join us. You don't have to be a member of Through the Eyes of Authors to be on our 12 days. It will take place December 1st through the 12th. And I'm going to be assigning right now we're at like 20 authors. Okay. So if you want to you send me an email, amy@abundantlysocial.com, and you can hop on and you're more than welcome to come. I will be assigning days and authors, and then you are more than welcome to be on that day. And then the following day, and then on the 12th of December, you guys, we will have everybody on. It's probably going to be a 2-hour or so live, and we're going to re-talk about the bundles that you have. They're perfect for holidays. If you have a reader in your family or you want to give a book as a gift, this is the time to do it. It will be 12 days pretty much of deals on books that are new to you, that are, vetted and fantastic, because we have some fantastic authors and books that are going to be in there. So if you want to be on it, you join tonight. If you want on Through the Eyes of Authors to get all the details, send me an email, Facebook message me. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Just yell my name. I'll probably magically appear. But that's what we're going to be discussing. We're also going to be talking about our mastermind and making some shifts and stuff towards that. But with all that being said, Alexa, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about all of your services and how you help authors, because everyone on here is either an author or helps authors, and we love growing that community and resources for authors. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your Monday to come on. But we hope everybody has a fantastic Monday. We will catch you all next week. But, hey, enjoy the cold front. If you are in Texas, enjoy it, because it's probably short-lived. But enjoy it, you guys. But we'll catch you all next Monday. Bye, everyone.